Welcome back to the Around the District podcast. I'm Gabrielle and Mazar.
I'm Nicole Brown.
And we're going to talk about misinformation versus disinformation. And I think this is really important because there is a difference between the two. Misinformation is when people share things unknowingly. So you don't know that the information is false. Disinformation is when you actually lie, when you're lying about the information. So Fox News has been sued a couple of times for this. So they knowingly lie to you. They were sued by what's it called, over the elections. Tucker Carlson was sued. And so that what they do is actually lying to people. But misinformation is when, say, like Fox News does lie to you, and then someone shares that thinking that that is gospel, or thinking that that is their truth, that it's true, but it's not. So I want to talk about why it's important to know the difference and to not tune out because you just don't know what the truth is, to tune up and to actually do your research, which I hate using that saying now, but to actually look into things and why it's important to do that. So, there's so many lies that go on in this administration, as we know. There's the huge one right now is the one with Abrego Garcia. The Supreme Court said bring him back, and what's his name? I can't remember. Basically, the Department of Justice said no, he's in a gang. We're not going to do that.
Pam Bondi?
No, Stephen Miller. I think it was Stephen Miller. Said no, he's a gang member.
Keep up because they're all criminals.
He said that the Supreme Court ruled in their favor, is what he said, and the Supreme Court said no, we did not. They ruled 9-0 against the Trump administration and said bring him back. So things like this is a blatant lie. It was a blatant lie that he went on and said, we won, we don't have to bring him back. And it's not true. And there's so much news going on. It's a fire hose of news every single day. How do we keep track?
Yeah, I think for me, the difference between those two for me has more to do with intent.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because basically disinformation, you intentionally tell
yes.
a lie for your own purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, there's so many things that come out every day. It's really kind of hard to keep up with the lies daily. But I will say that Fox News is notorious, Truth Social, they're all notorious for just X. Don't let me forget X. For just blatantly telling lies. And they have contributed to the downfall of this country 100%, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about, that's the guy that was deported to El Salvador, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what the Supreme Court did, you will see on social media today that people actually defending it and saying that Trump did nothing wrong. The bigger question to me is, why are they fighting it? Because I did hear the backstory on this individual, and he was told if he ever came back, he was going to be targeted.
Yes.
And the president of El Salvador is a right-wing person who is siding with Trump. But what's the real reason behind it? Like, there's never really, just the facts aren't there.
Right.
Bring the man back. He was deported illegally.
Right.
We heard yesterday a 19-year-old was deported illegally from New York, was apprehended on the streets. They knew they had the wrong person, but took him anyway. And he's a legal citizen of the United States. If they can do that to just the average Joe walking down the street, we all should be concerned.
Well, we just heard too, Trump was on the hot mic with President Bukele, talking about building more. First of all, why are we sending people to prisons in El Salvador? Well, why are American taxpayers paying millions of dollars to the president of El Salvador to send prisoners there? Why are we doing that in the first place? And second of all, why would we send Americans there? Full stop. What the hell?
He said he was going to focus on homegrown.
End of story. We should not be sending Americans, whether you're criminal or not. If you're an American criminal, you can go to prison.
Through the court system.
Go through the court system, be proved in a court of
Due
law
process.
that you are
called due
guilty. You
process.
go through due process. If you are guilty, you go to prison. Why are we sending you to a prison camp in another country? What and we're okay if you're okay with this. This is actually like insanity. They're not providing any information to that judge. None.
One of the
Zero.
senators went today to see if he can meet him face to face.
Of
we'll see if,
Maryland.
We'll see if that happens, which I don't expect. And again, every American should be concerned that this is what's happening in this country. If they can just pull you off the street and send you somewhere out of the country,
100% concerned.
We taxpayers are just paying for that to happen. And I got a question for the Christians, and I'm going to put that in quotation mark. I consider myself a Christian, but not by today's standards. I don't believe the people who wear, or if every single person in Trump's administration who's blonde and white female has a cross around her neck, and then they sit there and tell you lies.
Are you talking about his press secretary?
I'm just saying, the Pam Bundy, all of them, they all look the same, or they have this uniform that they wear, and they call themselves Christian. If you are a Christian, how do you support this?
How do you justify this?
How do you justify this?
How do you justify sending someone to die in a prison camp for no reason?
And yet you have a
human being.
Something that should
no matter what color
and yet you wear a cross around your neck.
Right.
As if you're doing something good for this country. When Kristi Noem, or whatever her name is, shows up with a gun in her hand and people behind her in a cell, like, what is that supposed to show? You're like some tough woman? Like, that is the lowest of the low.
The lowest of the low.
I don't get that.
Gross. Gross. Just gross.
Jesus was an immigrant. Jesus fought for all people. If you're a Christian, again, I'm going to ask, what part of the Bible did you actually read? Tell me where Jesus said, lock them up. I want to know that. Tell me where Jesus said, send them back to their so-called countries, even if they were born in this particular country. I need a Christian MAGA person to explain to me why this is okay, because I don't see it.
I don't have that answer for you.
Because you're not a Christian MAGA person. But I want a Christian MAGA person to tell me, look me in my eyes and tell me why you feel like this is okay. Yeah. And help me understand. And I'm not saying it from a judgmental perspective. I'm saying, if you legit believe that, let's talk about it. Because I don't get it. Nothing I read in the Bible. The Bible says, love thy neighbor. That's like one of the commandments. Is like, you're not even doing that. Yeah. Thy neighbor is somebody you may not know. Why, if just because they speak a different language, do I have to deport them? And why am I assuming that these people were not born in the United States of America? You know what I mean?
And why are you assuming that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And so people need to go back and look at the history. If you say this is not America, it is. It is our history.
I think that's part of it too, is I think people don't know history. I think people also, they just look at headlines. I don't think they read anything in too deep anyway. They're not going to multiple sources. I think that people just watch one stream of news and they just believe what they are fed over and over and over and over again. And I think, Trump has said it himself. If you say it enough, people believe you. And that's terrifying in itself. And you have to go to different sources, but I think people are also afraid to do that, because if one source tells them one thing and that's what they want to believe, and another source tells them something else, you're going to be biased on whatever you want to believe. But you have to look at all aspects. I'll tell you, sometimes I go to Fox News and I'm like, you people are freaking nutso. You're nuts. I remember watching Fox News one time and they were talking about Biden eating ice cream and how dare he eat ice. Like, why are we talking about this? Eating ice cream. Like, this is what we're concerned about. And it's like, there are so many things to be concerned about. Like, that's not, or let's, Obama's brown suit, like the freaking, the worst thing of all time. It was brown suit, but fact of the matter is that the
hypocrisy is amazing.
The hypocrisy knows no bounds. But fact check. Look at one more source. Look at 5 more sources. Go to a different channel and actually, if you see something and you're like, what the hell, this is a little crazy, maybe it is. Maybe it is a little crazy. I mean, this administration
Trump
is super
has
crazy, but like,
I think he has the ability to tap into people who feel for whatever reason like disenfranchised. You know what I
sure,
mean? And so
sure.
he taps into
Hate,
their fears
fear.
and hate of other groups of people, or he's been able to like pit people against each other really well, where it's kind of like, look, they're taking your jobs. What? I'm sorry. I don't want to go and cut somebody's lawn. That's not my job. You know what I mean? So how are they taking my job? And people don't think of it in those terms. Like, well, I don't know. Do you want to go out there in Arizona in the summertime in 119-degree weather and cut some grass? No, you don't. But there are people who do it and they don't mind doing it, and that's their business.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me. But he has been able to pit people against each other, and really tap into somebody's fears of not having something or having something taken away.
That is a specific tactic. It is the same thing that they did with the Jews.
Yeah.
Is
Nazis. Let's not leave the Nazis out.
That they specifically pick someone to pit against, because if you take this specific population and blame them for whatever your ails are, you're going to blame them. And it's a very strong tactic, and it's unfortunate. But I think, I don't know how to fight that. I don't know how to
He's not the only one. I
But
mean, this is the history of our country,
right.
actually.
And I
Like, think about welfare. The majority of people on welfare are rural white people,
yeah,
right? But it's been framed that it's like
that it's
a black thing,
black
and that
people
black women
in
are having all these babies and there's no dads
Right.
around, and it's been framed that way.
Right.
But it's not just
inner
Trump.
city black people
yeah.
are the ones that right. That's the frame.
It's the framing and
Right.
messaging, and Trump alone can't do that. The media helps.
Right.
They frame the stories into, the way they want to see it, where they're pitting races against each other, right versus wrong, and it's different for one person than the next. It's all about messaging. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get more into messaging, what some other senators and representatives are doing to message, getting out into the community and really talking about rallies and town halls and how people are just getting loud and making their voices heard. So we'll get more into that on another episode. But please share this podcast. We're Around the District podcast, and I hope you like what we have to say. Please let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. Obviously, everything is always changing, but we're here to talk about it and discuss more, and hopefully have some great guests on here for you. But thank you for listening, and please like and share.
Around the District.